In the vast landscapes of the Great White North, a silent struggle brews beneath the surface. Canada, once known for its economic might, finds itself in the clutches of a daunting challenge. But what has pushed this nation to the brink? Join us on this extraordinary expedition as we embark on a quest to unveil the hidden truths and uncover the untapped problems that Canada encounters within its economy. Canada is a huge and beautiful country in North America, situated above the United States. It's surrounded by three big oceans: the Atlantic, the Arctic, and the Pacific. In fact, Canada and the U.S. share the longest border in the world, stretching over 8,891 kilometers. What's interesting is that 80% of Canadians live within just 100 miles of the U.S. border. Half of the population lives in the southern part of the country. The province of Ontario alone accounts for a significant portion of the Canadian gross domestic product, contributing approximately 38% to the country's economy. It's a place where many people live because there are lots of job opportunities. The main industries in Canada, like real estate, mining, and manufacturing, are mostly located in provinces like Ontario. There's a chart showing how house prices have changed in different provinces over the past 10 years. Since the financial crisis, house prices in Canada have doubled, which means they've become twice as expensive. This happened because people are spending a lot of money. In 2009, the government tried to boost the economy, and the central bank kept interest rates low at around 1%. This encouraged Canadians to borrow money to buy houses. People are rushing to buy homes because they think the prices will keep going up, or they're afraid they won't be able to afford a home in the future. Even though housing prices have slowed down a bit recently because interest rates have gone up, many people who rent in Canada still believe that owning a home is impossible for them. According to a survey by Ipsos, a company that asks people questions, 63% of Canadians who don't own a home have given up on ever owning one. Immigration has played a big role in the demand for rental properties in Canada. Many people who come to Canada decide to rent a home first instead of buying, which keeps the demand for rental places high. The housing market in Canada is unique because people's ability to borrow and spend money on houses may be reaching its limit. Canadians use a big part of their money for housing, which is different from other countries. It's important to look closely at this housing situation and understand how it affects Canada's economy. When it comes to its economy, a significant portion, only 9.3% of the total, is made up of things like intellectual property. On the other hand, there has been impressive growth in investments made in housing, which has increased Canada's total residential assets by a substantial 18.9%. In simpler terms, the value of houses and buildings has gone up by a lot, representing a big part of Canada's wealth. Business investment plays a crucial role in driving economic growth. It helps expand the economy by increasing the overall production capacity, allowing more goods and services to be created using the same resources and workforce. Interestingly, compared to the United States, Canada invests less in business. Business investments are made by both domestic and foreign individuals. In Canada, the lower level of domestic investment is compensated by foreign direct investment, with a significant portion coming from the United States. Canadian enterprises, unfortunately, don't often make a big splash on the global stage. A survey of executives revealed that Canadians tend to be more cautious and risk-averse compared to their counterparts south of the border. At a time when Canada's relationship with the United States is under strain, it's hard to ignore the facts that 6 out of the 10 largest companies in the world, based on revenue, according to Fortune's list, are either American or Chinese. In contrast, Canada's top-ranking company, Brookfield Asset Management, a financial manager, is ranked a modest 158th. These factors highlight some unique characteristics and traits of Canada's economy, which are influenced by its neighbor to the south. Being a neighbor and having a close economic relationship with the United States, Canada has developed its economic policies and practices in response to the influence of its southern neighbor. Many American companies have set up operations in Canada primarily to avoid tariffs or taxes, but their headquarters and intellectual property often remain in the United States. Additionally, exciting new startups in Canada often end up being acquired by foreign companies, particularly American ones. This is partly because when small Canadian companies go public by selling shares on the stock market, they lose certain tax benefits. As a result, they become more vulnerable to acquisition by larger foreign firms. All of these factors combined have made Canada's economy less productive and innovative compared to that of the United States. To put things into perspective, on average, Canadians earn around $60,000 per year, while their American counterparts make approximately $80,000. To put it simply, by traveling just a few hours south, the average income in America increases by almost 33% compared to Canada. Americans also tend to work slightly more hours than Canadians, about 3.5% more. However, the key difference lies in how efficiently they work rather than the number of hours they put in. Interestingly, the average American worker produces $74 worth of value per hour, whereas the average Canadian worker generates only $57 per hour. This raises the question of what makes Americans work smarter, not harder, compared to Canadians. The main reason is the significant difference in the amount of money spent on machinery, tools, innovation, and capital per worker, which economists refer to as capital intensity. Canadian businesses allocate approximately $13,000 per worker towards capital investments, while their American counterparts invest a significantly higher amount of $20,500 per worker. Moreover, Canada falls behind in research and development spending among G7 countries. The United States produces nearly twice as many patents per person as Canada, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization. Productivity growth directly correlates with improved standards of living and individual incomes. In 2022, Canada's income per person, adjusted for purchasing power parity, stood at $57,800, which was nearly $17,400 lower than that of America. Although this income gap has not posed a significant issue thus far, Canadians in the lower half of the income scale fare better than their American counterparts due to lower levels of inequality. The level of income inequality in any given country can be measured using the Gini coefficient, which ranges from 0 to 1, with 0 representing perfect equality and 1 representing perfect inequality. Over the past 42 years, Canada's Gini coefficient has consistently remained lower than that of the United States. In fact, income inequality in the U.S. has always been higher and has increased faster during that period. While income inequality in Canada increased during the challenging period of the early to mid-1990s, it has remained relatively stable over the past decade and even declined after 2010. However, despite this favorable aspect, the Canadian economy still lacks competitiveness compared to other developed economies. According to the IMD World Competitiveness Ranking, which has been conducted annually since 1997, Canada currently holds the 14th position out of 63 countries, marking its worst performance in the survey's history. The country is being outperformed by more aggressive free market economies, such as those that prioritize economic liberalization and open markets. This decline in competitiveness raises concerns about Canada's ability to attract investments, foster innovation, and create new opportunities for its citizens. To address these challenges, Canadian policymakers and businesses need to focus on enhancing capital investment, promoting research and development, and fostering a more competitive business environment. Canada faces tough competition from countries like Singapore, which ranks 3rd in competitiveness, and the United States, which ranks 10th. Other progressive countries like Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden are also known for their strong worker protections and high wages. A competitiveness index measures how well a country gets things done. Competition helps with new ideas and makes the economy grow. About 10 to 15 years ago, Canada was really good at coming up with new ideas, even though other countries were bigger and had more money. To keep up, Canada needs to be more creative. It has lots of talented people from all over the world. In fact, according to the IMD report, Canada ranks 11th globally in terms of talent. But many of those talented individuals are leaving Canada and heading south to the United States because they can earn higher salaries there. This phenomenon is known as brain drain. One reason is that Canada has traditionally had fewer government initiatives to support researchers and entrepreneurship than some other countries. The country relies on a lot of natural resources like mining, lumber, oil, and gas. These things make up a big part of Canada's economy. But the amount of oil and gas that Canada sells to other countries is going down. On the positive side, the service industry in Canada is growing. This includes things like banking, real estate, and communications. Toronto is becoming an important place for banking. Canada's banks are strong and are considered some of the best in the world. Even though Canada has some problems, it has a stable government, nice people, and is a good place to do business. It's also seen as one of the least corrupt countries in the world. But Canada's economy has been growing slower than other countries for a long time, and experts think it won't get much better anytime soon.